Hello viewers, welcome to Top Notch TV. With you today is none other than Tr.Fidelis from Alliance High School. I'm a teacher of English and a writer of the Daily Nation. Today we shall be discussing how to answer questions in functional writing, and today we shall discuss how to write a curriculum vitae. If you have watched our previous episode, then you see that we had a discussion on how to write minutes. Ensure that you go back and look at it. So, this is an area that is tested in English paper 1, and mostly you'll get out of 20 marks in this area. And you can easily get the 20 marks. So, as we discussed today, we shall be looking at the expectations of the examiner, the format, and maybe the content. And in this case, when you talk about the content, just know that the content will be given in the question. So how do you write a CV? What do you start with? What should you have in a CV? What shouldn't miss in a CV? And so when you talk about a CV, you must start by a title. In this case, the title should be Curriculum Vitae. They should be written in capital letters, then underline it. We shall be using the block format. The block format is the easiest writing format for the students, because after every item that you have, you just keep skipping a line until you're done with your writing. And in this case, then you start writing from the margin. Now, in our CV, we have a number of items that we should consider, and we'll go through each item one by one. Now, number one, when you want to write a CV, you're trying to give more information about yourself. People write CVs when applying for jobs, and in any case, sometimes even when you apply for, say, higher learning, when you want to join a university, or when you want to go to a certain institution abroad, sometimes we just send you an online document that is in a CV form, and this is where you fill all the information. For purposes of the exam, we shall be looking at the format that is expected, the format that we use in our syllabus. So the first thing you look at is biodata. Biodata, some books will talk about personal details, others will talk about personal information. It's basically one and the same thing. Now, in the biodata, we want to know something about you. So you can start by giving your name. What's your name? Indicate your date of birth, indicate your religion, gender, marital status. Talk about something like your contact details. When you write the contact details, you can choose. You can either have your email address. Nowadays, if you want to get any information, the easiest way to get any information is via an email, and it's a very official way of communication. So when you give contact details, you can talk about what? Your email address. You can also talk about the postal address, or you can give a phone number. This is maybe 072, and give that number there, so that in case this person wants to call you or wants to get more information, then they can look at your CV and get the information from there. So in this case, how do you write? You have indicated the title. This is Curriculum Vitae, capital letters underlined. You can align it, in your paper. You can align the title in the middle. And then now, once you start writing, go back to the margin and you start writing. So personal information, capitalize the P, capitalize the I, underline it. Now, next to the margin, have the name, colon. Use a colon, give the name. Say date of birth, a colon, give the date of birth. Date of birth, as usual, should be written in full. So you can say, assuming someone was born maybe in April, you can say 20th April 1928, and then indicate that. Once you're done with the biodata, you go to educational background. Here, we want to see all the information about the schools that you attended. Now, what do? You start with the university level. So once you start with the university, you indicate the years. So we are done with the biodata. It's written. We're using the block format. You have skipped a line. Now you're going to write something about educational background. In this case, you should have three things. You're having the university education, or the higher education in this case. You're having your high school education. And number three, you're having the primary education. So you start with the highest in this case. This is the university education. So number one, indicate the years. When did you start this course? When did you finish? Give that. Next to the margin. Next to the margin, indicate the years. Then have a say a dash. You can use a dash. Indicate the university. Where did you attend maybe your higher learning? So you can say the University of Nairobi. Now, once you have given the name of the institution, go to the following line, or the line under the information that you have given. Indicate the qualification. You can say Bachelor of Education. You can say whatever you have indicated there. What did you get? What did you attain? You can indicate any achievement that you got in the higher learning. Once you're done with that, you go to the next item, and that is high school education. Again, next to the margin, indicate the years. When did you start? When did you finish? Once you're done with that, have a dash. Indicate the name of your high school, Alliance High School. What did you attain? What did you attain in terms of the certificate? So the certificate will be KCSE. This should be written in full. Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. What grade did you get? So under that, you indicate the grade. This, you can say an A of 84 points. Now, once you're done with your high school education, you go to primary education. Where did you go to school? And of course, you have started by indicating the years. When did you join? When did you finish? Once you're done with that, give the name of the primary school. Say Good News Primary School. What did you attain? We're talking about KCPE. Again, it should be indicated in full. Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. How many marks did you attain? So assuming that you did your exam a long time ago, like myself, you can indicate maybe the mark was out of maybe more than 500. Nowadays it's just out of 500. So if you're saying that maybe you did your primary school education at a certain institution, indicate the certificate. You have talked about that. Then indicate the number of marks. So you can say 430 marks, and you're done. Once you're done with this area, again, skip another line and go to the next item. In the next item, we discuss work experience. Where have you worked before? More often than not, when you write a CV, you want to give this to your prospect employer so that they can see or maybe get to know more about you. So in this case, you must talk about the work experience. Where have you worked before? In this case, you have to have at least two experiences in different organizations. So you can say one, start with the year. Which year did you start? Which year did you maybe stop working at that institution? Then once you're done with that, indicate not the duration, but indicate the job position. Were you the managing director? Were you the bank accountant? Who are you? Were you the project manager? Were you the CEO? Indicate that. Once you have indicated that, give the institution. You're a bank manager at, say, KCB Bank. And then after that, just have a small, or a subheading rather, and say duties. So what are the duties? What did you do as a branch manager? Were you the person in charge of talking to the clients? Were you the person in charge of talking about expansion? Just list. And then as you list the duties that you have and the position that you have indicated, again, list at least two. Not just one duty. Just list at least two. Then once you're done with work experience number 1, go to work experience number 2. Work experience number 2. So again, give the duration. In the duration, you have to talk about the time. When did you start working here? When did you stop working here? Sometimes you can be working in the same place. Sometimes you can be working in the same place. So you can say you started working on this date, on this year, and you have a dash and say to date. So you're still working here. Next is followed by the position. Teacher of English at Alliance High School. Okay, what are my duties? Indicate the duties there. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Once you're done with the work experience, then you can go to the next item. And before maybe you go to the next item, just a reminder that as you look at your CV, again, we have said that in these subheadings, instead of using, say, capital letters, you can just capitalize the first letter. So in this case, you're looking at work experience. So the W should be in capital letters, and then the W and the E should be in capital letters. And then once you're done with that, you can just indicate that by underlining. You have 2 work experiences. Sometimes, depending on what the examiner needs from the students, you can have more. They can say talk about 3 places that you have worked. You can be asked to talk about 1 place where you have worked. So again, as much as you're having this discussion on how you write a CV, it is important for a student to actually read the question, understanding, just outline everything that is needed from the question by the examiner. The next thing, once you're done with the educational background, you can talk about professional qualifications. In some of the books, if you check, they'll talk about skills. So it's basically the same thing. But as a student, you should not have the 2. Say professional qualification stroke skills. No. Have your discussion or have your CV written using one item or the other. So say professional qualifications. So apart from going to the university, what else have you done? What else have you achieved? To just make sure that you're better than any other person who is applying for the same position as you are. So in this case, talk about again the year. If for instance, we have someone who has undertaken a degree of economics, they might maybe go ahead and maybe have certification in say accounts or accounting rather. So in another example, you might have someone who is HR, the human resource manager, and they need a certification. So this is something else that you should consider. So look at the year. When did you start? Maybe when did you start that course? So indicate the year, maybe 2005 to 2007 or 2021 to 2022, and then indicate that. Once you indicate it, then talk about the qualification. What did you get? What certification did you get from this institution? So again, you have to give the name of the institution. So you can talk about a HR certificate from the University of Cambridge, and then indicate it. At least have 2 or 3, and then just list. This is qualification number 1. I have qualification number 2 and qualification number 3. Sometimes you might have more than 1, but look at the position that you are applying for. So if you want to apply maybe as a banking manager, what is needed? So in all your qualifications, can you check which one will ensure that you get that certain position that you're going for? Now, in terms of, say, maybe a question in an exam setup, sometimes these will be indicated in the question. So if you have that indicated in the question, as the examiner is going through your work, they must get this in the qualification. So if you come up with another different qualification, then you won't attain that mark for, say, the skills that the examiner expects that you'll give. Once you're done with the professional qualifications, then we can talk about the hobbies. What are your hobbies? What do you do during your free time? And in this case, this is what your employer is looking for. So when you're not working, when you're not in the office, what do you do? So you're looking at the hobbies. The hobbies, again, capitalize. You're done with the professional qualifications. You have underlined. You're done writing. Skip a line. Go to hobbies. Hobbies stroke interests. But again, as you write, don't say hobbies stroke interest. We're just using this to showcase that you can actually talk about hobbies or you can talk about interest. And in this case, then you should just pick one. So you either say hobbies, under that indicate swimming, fencing, maybe reading books, bird watching, swimming, dancing. You can have a variety list. Another student might choose to talk about interests. So say interests, underline, then list number 1, 2, 3, 4. Have at least 4. Don't just have one hobby and stop there. Because in any case, we're talking about hobbies, not a hobby. So have at least 4. Lastly, we have referees. Referees. These are the people who know you. You know, if you say, if maybe in your CV, if you indicate that you can do ABCD, you have this certification, you went to this university, you got a first class honors, yeah. You know, as you give information on educational background, someone might say, I got a first class honors at the University of Nairobi. And you know, in many cases, we have seen people forging documents. How do we know that this person is telling the truth? And in any case, students, once you're done with your high school, this is the next thing. You'll be writing CVs and you want to try and get internships and whatnot. So how do we know that this person is the owner of the documents and they're not forged? So these are the referees. These are people who know you. Maybe your teachers. You can have your teachers in your referees. This is someone who taught you for 4 years in high school, someone who taught you at the university. Then, as you indicate these, have at least 2 referees. So you're done with the hobbies, capital H underlined, listed up to 4. Then you go to the next item, referees. So you skip a line and then you start at the margin, capital R, underline, and then start listing. How do you list? How do you ensure that you give complete information about your referee? Number 1, have the name. Dr. Givenchy. Maybe a teacher at Alliance High School or a professor at the University of Nairobi. You have indicated that. So number 1 there, you have indicated the name of this person. You have talked about the institution, maybe where the organization where they work. If it's your teacher, you can give the institution, the educational institution. After that, you should give the position. Who is this person? Was it the chief principal? Was it the lecturer? Who is this person? Indicate that. If maybe it's a referee from a place that you worked, you can talk about the managing director. So Dr. Humphrey, then talk about the institution, KCB Bank, branch manager. Then give contact information. How can you get him? How can we get him? If we want to verify that this person knows you, how can we get to talk to him? So give the contact information. This can be given in terms of an address, say PO Box, give a certain address and then indicate just the way we write. So PO Box 2233-00100 Nairobi, and then give another contact in terms of either a phone number or an email address. So in this case, give an email address. You can say maybe drhumphrey@gmail.com. Once you're done with the first referee, have number 1. You have Dr. Humphrey. Skip a line, go to number 2. Referee number 2. Give the name, give the organization, give the position, give the contact information. And once you're done with this, then you will have written a complete CV. And with that, you can look at many questions that we have. For instance, you can look at our book, that is the English Guru. It just looks at everything, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. So in this case, if you look at the questions that we have for paper 1, we have questions on how to write a CV. So using the information that we have discussed here, then you can use the Guru, English Guru, that is, to look at the questions, and see whether you can write a CV. So a reminder: have a title, have biodata, have a background, educational background, talk about the work experience. Once you're done with the work experience, you can talk about the professional qualifications, go to the hobbies, and finally talk about the referees. And with that, you'll have given all the information that we need when writing a CV. Now, in case of any questions that you'd want us to look at, in case of any other functional writing items that you'd want to maybe us to discuss, you can leave all the questions in the comment below. Subscribe, follow us for more information. And again, wishing the best for the students waiting for their KCSE. Until next time, it's a bye from me.